Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Krishna. Rascal mind. So easily distracted. So easily distracted. Krishna. Constant practice. Constant practice. Okay, so I was going to read a little bit from the Ramayana. These pastimes and activities of the Lord are very attractive and something nice for the mind to think about. The pastimes of the Lord. So there's an incarnation of the Lord a really long time ago. I mean, we're talking eons. And his activities were recorded by Valmiki. And we have the account. So this is Valmiki's account of the incarnation of God, Lord Ramachandra. But this is a condensed version. Valmiki's Ramayana is very, very long, and it's in Sanskrit. So this is a condensed version by a man, devotee, Rajagopalachari. He's presenting it. It's like a drama, reads like a play, and easy to read, and we can just get the pastimes. So this is chapter 16 in his condensed version of the Ramayana. It's called Storm and Calm. And up to this point, the co-wife, one of the co-wives, has taken bad counsel and insisted that Ramachandra be sent to the forest and that her son Bharat be crowned king. Ram's taken it without no disturbance at all. His mood is, whatever my father says, I'll do, even if it's something I don't want to do. And if it's something I want to do, and he says not to do it, then I won't do it. I'm very obedient to my father. That is also the mood that we see in Pradyumna, in Dwarka Leela, has that mood. And Pradyumna is a Vishnu expansion also. So Ram, let's see, Storm and Calm. Ram's mother's name is Kausalya. So Ram went to Queen Kausalya's dwelling. Meanwhile, all the citizens in the whole city, the whole country, they're elated that Ram's going to be installed as the king. And they're all waiting. And there's a delay, and they're wondering what's happening. Why is there a delay? We're ready for the... It's not just crowning a king, it's installing. It's like installing a deity. They would install the king on the throne like you would install a deity in a temple. because the king is the representative of the Lord. There aren't any more kings, obviously, these days. But that's actually the system. So they're all waiting and they're wondering, what's the delay? So Ram went to Queen Kausalya's dwelling, his mother. Many visitors were assembled there, eagerly awaiting the coronation. In the innermost apartment, the queen, clad in white silk, was before the sacrificial fire, invoking blessings on her son. As soon as Ram entered, she embraced him and showed him who she thought was to become the Yuvaraj to a specially raised seat. She brought him to a special seat. So Ram says, "Mother, the seat is too high for me," said Ram. "I am a hermit and should sit on grass spread on the floor. I have brought you news which may sadden you. Listen and give me your blessings." He told her briefly what had happened. The king wishes to give the crown to Bharat. His command is that I should spend 14 years in the Dandaka forest. I must leave today. And I come for your blessings before I go. When Kausalya heard this, she fell on the ground like a plantain tree, suddenly cut down. Lakshman and Ram gently raised her. She clung to Ram and cried, "Is my heart made of stone or iron? That I still live?" Lakshman could not bear the sight of the queen's grief. Angrily he spoke. And now this is his father, the king, he says. "This old king has pronounced on Ram a doom that is reserved for the most wicked evildoers. What sin or crime has Ram committed? Not even his worst enemy could find any fault in Ram. The doting old man has lost his senses over his young wife and is not fit to be king anymore. How can a king listen to a woman and violate Dharma? Even your enemies, O Ram, when they look at you, begin to love you. But this dotard of a father sends you to the forest. Look here, brother, let us together throw out this king and take charge of the kingdom. Who will dare oppose us? I will make an end of everyone who dares. Only give me leave, and I shall do this single-handed. O young brother, to become king, and you to go to the forest." The world would laugh at this absurdity. Don't consent to this. I, at any rate, won't stand this. I shall put down all opposition and see that you rule the kingdom without delay or hindrance. Never doubt, but I have strength to do it. Instead of the sun rising, a great darkness has descended upon the land this morning. For when we were expecting your coronation, the king sentences you to banishment. In the face of such injustice, there's no use being nice and polite. I cannot stand this. I must do my duty. Mother, now you will see the strength of my arm, and so will you, brother. Lakshman's words were some solace to Kausalya, but yet the strange talk of ousting the king and seizing the throne frightened her. She said, "Ram, consider well what Lakshman says. Don't go to the forest. If you go away, how can I stay here all alone among enemies? I too shall go with you." Ram had listened in silence to Lakshman's outburst, for it was wise to let the pent-up passion find outlet in words. Then, turning to Kausalya, he said, "Mother, let there be no talk of anyone going with me to the forest. It is your duty to stay here, serving the king and sharing the sorrow that has come to him in his old age. How can the crowned queen of an emperor wander with me like a widow in the forest? This cannot be. I shall return after my term of forest life. It is my duty to fill my father's words. It is all the same to me whether it is just or unjust, spontaneous or extorted by force or fraud. If I fail in this primary duty, I can gain no satisfaction or good name through my amount of wealth or power. Lakshman, your proposals are quite wrong. I know your great strength, and I have no doubt that you can vanquish and destroy all opponents and secure for me the kingdom. I know also your affection for me, but the way in which you propose to use it is not worthy of the dynasty to which we belong. Our highest duty is to fulfill our father's words. If we fail in that, no other achievement can make up for it. Ram tried to console both his mother and his brother, but Lakshman's anger could not be easily put down. Perhaps it could have been if he himself, not Ram, were the sufferer. But it was Ram who was the victim of this cruel injustice, and Lakshman writhed in anger like a wounded cobra. Ram took him apart, made him sit down, tried to calm him. Lakshman, are you not my other self, my very soul in another body? Hare Krishna. Actually, Lakshman is an expansion of Ram. He's like Balaram is an expansion of Krishna. So these are pastimes. So it's Ram talking to Ram, an expansion of himself. Lakshman, are you not my other self, my very soul in another body? Listen to me. You're courageous and strong. Control your anger and grief on my account. Don't allow these evil spirits to possess you. Holding fast to Dharma, let us convert our present disgrace into a great joy. Let us forget all about the coronation and think worthily as becomes our race. Consider our father's condition. Our heart should go out to him in sympathy, for he is stricken with a great sorrow. Whatever be the reason, he gave a promise, and if he should break it, he would be committing a shameful sin, which would besmirch and blot out all his great and glorious deeds. He is heartbroken at the wrong he feels he has done me, but I do not feel it a wrong at all, for a king must keep his word, and a son must obey his father. You should show that you too are free from any sense of injury. Only so can we bring him mental relief. He gave us the life that we hold, and we should give him peace of mind. He is afraid about the other world. We should free him from the fear. So far, we have never given him cause for sorrow or dissatisfaction. Now we have become the cause of a great fear in his mind about what has happened to him in the other world. We can easily relieve him. Instead of doing this, are we to add to his troubles? For this reason, my mind has altogether turned away from the coronation and is intent on the journey to the forest. My sole desire now is to go to the forest and see that Bharat is crowned. This would please me best. If I delay, Kaikeyi will grow suspicious. Hence, I should go to the forest this very day and bring peace to her mind, rid her of the fear of the sin of breaking a promise, and assured by my willing and cheerful acceptance of his command, our father will be happy. And we should not be angry with Kaikeyi either. Has she not been kind to us all those years? That she should suddenly conceive this idea is surely the working of fate. We should not blame her for it. One purposes something and fate decides otherwise. If this Kaikeyi is but a passive instrument, in this Kaikeyi is a passive instrument in the hand of fate. Our little mother will have to bear the grievous burden of the world's shame, but our love for her should remain the same as ever. If before this there had been evil in her thought, her conduct would have shown it. There's no doubt that some higher force has made her suddenly and harshly Ram, go to the forest. Otherwise, how could a high-minded woman who so far looked upon us as her own children now behave so brazenly before her husband? Who can oppose destiny? Even steadfast sages have swerved suddenly from their tapas. How can poor Kaikeyi hope to resist fate? Let us resolve firmly to change this sorrow into joy, that would be a proof of our nobility and courage. With the blessings of my mothers and elders, I shall go to the forest. Bring here the water from the Ganga for the coronation. I shall use it for ablution before departing to the forest. No, that water belongs to the state and is intended for the coronation. How can we touch it? We shall go to holy Ganga ourselves and fetch the water for my ablution. Brother, be not sad thinking of kingdom or wealth. Life in the forest will be my highest joy. So Ram revealed to his brother his innermost thoughts. Hare Krishna. Yes, Kaikeyi was destined to play that part so that Ram could go to the forest, because one of the main reasons for his appearance was to kill Ravana, who was a very, very, very powerful demon who was disturbing the demigods, trying to take over the throne of Indra even. So the appeal was made that Krishna should appear. So he appeared as Ramachandra, and this is his pastime, and he's going to the forest. You know, Krishna always does a lot of things at once, and a lot goes on at once in Krishna's pastimes. Okay, so the next paragraph, don't know if it's Rajagopalachari saying this or he's taking it from the translation of Valmiki. We'll wing it. Here's what, hope he's not trying to preach. He says, Ram revealed to his brother his innermost thoughts. In these passages, Valmiki uses the word daiva. In Sanskrit literature, daivam means fate. Daivam, dishtam, bhagyam, niyati, and vidhi are all words conveying the idea of something unexpected and inexplicable. Because of the belief in God as the prime cause, a natural confusion arises between fate and God's will. What Ram said to Lakshman on the present occasion does not mean that he thought the gods contrived Kaikeyi's action for their own benefit. Ram offered no more than the usual consolation. It's the work of fate. Do not grieve. No one is to blame for this. Yeah, no one is to blame for this is the best way to see it. Kaikeyi is playing a part that has to be played. In the Kamban Ramayana, this is the one taken from the Tamil translation. This is the Tamil translation of Valmiki, which Rajagopalachari is using. So he says, in the Kamban Ramayana also, addressing his brother, raging like the fire of dissolution, Ram says, it is not the river's fault that the bed is dry. Even so, my going hence is not the king's fault, nor Queen Kaikeyi's, nor her sons. The wrong is the work of fate. Why should one be angry then? This explanation calmed Lakshman for a while, but soon his anger boiled up again. He said, very well then, this is the work of fate. Fate, I grant, is the cause of our stepmother's sudden falling, and I'm not angry with her. But are we, on that account, to sit still and do nothing? It is Kshatriya Dharma to overcome evil and establish justice. A hero does not bow down before fate. Having announced Ram's coronation by beat of drums to the town and country, The treacherous king invokes some old forgotten boon and orders you to go to the forest. Is it manly to call this fate and obey it meekly? Only cowards go down under fate. Heroes should oppose and vanquish it. I am no weakling to yield to fate. You will see today the might of a hero matched against fate. I shall tame the mad elephant fate and make it serve me. I shall banish to the forest those who conspired to banish you. If you wish to visit the forest for a change, you can do so later. The proper time for it will be when you have reigned as king for many years and then entrusted the crown to your sons. That was the way of our ancestors. If anyone questions your kingship now, I shall stand here to annihilate him. Are these two shoulders merely for beauty? This bow, these arrows, and this sword hanging on my side, are they mere decorations? Or do you think they are theatrical equipment put on for a show? I await your orders. Give me the word. Test my prowess. So Lakshman is, in one sense, another aspect of Lord Ramachandra. He's an expansion of the Lord. And he embodies this. If someone wasn't playing this part, it wouldn't make sense. Ram's banished to the forest and he just goes. Okay, great. Without Lakshman embodying the anger, the resentment, the outcry, the presenting all these things, it wouldn't be complete. Then, when Ram says, well, I just go to the forest, then it makes sense. Without Lakshman, it wouldn't make any sense. It would be unnatural. It's interesting here where he says, Lakshman says, I shall tame the mad elephant fate. Mad elephant fate. I was just considering about when Krishna and Balaram were brought to Mathura for the wrestling match. Kamsa at first tried to destroy them with a mad elephant. It's interesting that we should use this, compare fate to a mad elephant. It's an interesting. I wonder if that is kind of usual in the Vedic scriptures, that fate is compared to a mad elephant, if that's kind of like a stock phrase, mad elephant. Interesting to consider. Okay, so do you think my bows and arrows are theatrical equipment? I await your orders. Give me the word. Test my prowess. Ram gently pacified Lakshman's rage, which was flaring up into a conflagration, he says. As long as our parents are alive, said Ram, it's our duty to obey them. I cannot dream of disobeying my father. It is our prime duty to do this bidding and enable him to fulfill his pledge. What joy is there in getting a kingship after insulting our parents and slaying Bharat, the embodiment of Dharma? Bharat is also an expansion of Ram. Lakshman's an expansion, and he's in outrage over the injustice done to Ram. And Bharat is the embodiment of Dharma, which is principle. Okay, I had a call coming in. Almost done with the chapter here. This is really interesting how all of this works. The Kshatriya's code of how some personalities like Bhishmadev would take that vow because of his father's desire. Yayati wanted to marry I think it was Satyavati, anyway. And the father wouldn't let the marriage take place unless the sons of his daughter would inherit the kingdom. Whereas Bhishma was the first son, and he would have been the one to, but in order to please his father, he relinquished the kingdom. I don't know his father, was it Yayati? Somebody, anyway, I can't remember the names, but that was the situation. So they're very strong with this obedience and in the Kshatriya line. So the last little paragraph here. So Ram says, what joy is there in getting a kingship after insulting our parents and slaying Bharat, the embodiment of Dharma? These are all aspects. It's Lord Ramachandra appearing in 4 features. Bharat is a feature of Lord Ram. Lakshman is a feature of Lord Ram. So, and then Ram, he wiped with his hand